Hey, what's up everybody? It's Tiffany from the Tif Brian show. And last week was Brian's birthday, and this weekend his client gave him an all-day pass to the CrossFit Games. So I thought we usually film on Sundays. I thought it would be really fun if Brian filmed his own segment on his own and also film some of the CrossFit Games so you guys could watch and see what it's like and see all the energy that's there. I haven't been to the CrossFit Games, but I have been to an event, I guess maybe like at the StubHub Center. I was going to be at the beach when he was done, so I was going to film mine at the beach, and I did take some footage for you, but it was way too windy, so you guys would not have been able to hear anything. This post is on motivation. Is actually a request by one of my friends, and basically what keeps you motivated. How do you stay motivated? And ironically, I've had a really difficult time with this one. I think because this is a subject that everybody, all of us, can use some help in. And I'm kind of feeling in a really introspective mood today. So sorry if it's gonna be a ramble, but I have so many ideas and so many things that come up when I'm driving, and that I can share and, you know, relate to people on, and I try to portray that in the videos, but it's sometimes really difficult for me to get it out, and I think for people to understand logically exactly what I'm trying to say. So bear with me on this one, and I'll do a written post too, just because I think my thoughts are clearer in writing. Part of the reason I wanted to do these video blogs was to help my speech and be more clearer when I talk, and hopefully that'll help, and hopefully you guys will rough it through with me through these rough times. So, how do I stay motivated? How to keep the motivation going once you're motivated? I started writing this post out by saying like, oh, figure out what motivates you, and then I started listing motivators, and then I got about a page through on my outline, and I freaked out, and I was like, this isn't really how I want to come across, and this isn't really what I even do when I'm trying to be motivated. So how do I give my real life, real world examples to you guys? And so I started thinking of times that I actually followed through with things. And I started thinking about times that I had a tough time getting started and figuring out what my goals were and where to go. And so during that freak out moment, I texted a couple of my friends, and I was like, hey, where do you go to think? Because I had completely drawn a blank. And one of my friends said, I just go in the shower because that's where nobody bothers me, and I get really relaxed. So I had to take a shower anyway, so I immediately ran in the shower, and it actually did help a lot. So as soon as I got out, I was able to write. I started with a new outline, and I was ready to go with that. But there were some few things in the beginning there that I think we could get back to. So the first thing that I do is I figure out what it is that I want to do. So what is my end goal? And let's say I have a couple right now, and I have a few examples that I can go along the way too, but one was a marathon. So my end goal was to run a marathon. And as soon as I discovered that end goal, I made a commitment to myself, and I said, I'm going to run a marathon. And then I said, okay, when am I gonna run a marathon? And my friend, my running partner, my training partner, and I decided to run a marathon in October. So it's coming up this October, and I've been training. And so once I made that commitment, we basically said, well, I had somebody to hold me accountable who was my training partner, and I highly, highly recommend getting somebody who will hold you accountable. So as soon as I make a commitment to myself, I have to tell people that will hold me accountable. For example, with running, my training partner and I hold each other accountable. We're going to do it together. We set out to do and accomplish this thing together. Last October, I started a bikini body challenge, and the challenge was to get Hawaii ready, which my entire family was going on this trip to Hawaii this year in June. And so I gave myself October, November, 6 months, or no, 9 months to get ready for Bikini Body. And I posted that shit on Facebook. So literally every single person, and I tagged all of my family members, and I said, who's with me? And whoever responded, I made an email group about, and I emailed them every once in a while saying, like, this is my status, or this is my status, this is how it's going, this is what I've done so far, and kind of created a community around getting Bikini Body ready, even if it was only just me doing it. So I guess the fear of looking foolish, the fear of committing myself to something and not following through. It's one thing when you make a commitment to yourself and you don't follow through, but when you tell that commitment to the world, the stakes are a little bit higher. So that's what I do immediately after I make a commitment to myself, is I tell people. And another, kind of like launching this show with Brian, I've been wanting to contribute to other people's lives positively for a while, and I wasn't really sure how to do it. And I don't know, I really like Brian a lot, and I think he's awesome, and he does, a lot of fitness stuff, and I was like, hey, let's do this together. And he was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm down. So now we hold each other accountable to keep getting content out to you guys, and so that's the second thing I do. The third thing I do is I find something to do, something to work towards that end goal immediately. So with running, the day I decided to run is the day that I started running. The day that I asked Brian to do this with me was the day I started planning. The day that I launched the Bikini Body Challenge was the day that I wrote the email to everybody, was the day I posted on Facebook. It was the day that I got a game plan going. So with this first step that you do, it has to be a small win. It has to be a step in the right direction. So I guess you need something to get the momentum going. And that one action that you take today is going to help you take your next step. So let's see, I'm just checking out my notes. I keep finding that the more I plan, the more I stick to a plan, the more prepared I am, the more, the better the results I get. So let's say I made a commitment to myself to run a marathon, and I signed up for a marathon, but that's all I did. Like, I would probably never run a marathon. So what I do after I make that commitment and I tell the entire world and I get a partner, I get somebody to hold me accountable, is I made a game plan. And this was a day that I sat down and I literally wrote out my training program. And as soon as I started writing out my training program, I realized that I probably needed to consult my training partner. I don't know why, that was the second thought. But we communicate all the time, but we were texting and I was like, hey, I need to see you. I need to sit down with you and figure out what this training plan is going to be. How are we going to attack this marathon? And so we made a date to sit down and do that, and it didn't take very long. We had a schedule basically, and we worked back from our goal. Our goal is October 11th to run 26.2 miles, and we decided on benchmarks. We decided how many times a week we were going to run. We decided what supplemental training we were going to do. She was going to go to the gym and do weights, and I was going to do CrossFit. We were going to do sprint training 3 times a week. We were going to do 1 long run a week. And we decided on every single day that we were going to do that, and we even wrote down the times. So be very specific when you're making this plan, because the preparation and planning that you do in this moment will make it so you don't have to think in the future. In my calendar, I have it on Thursday mornings that I run with my training partner before 7 a.m., before work. Now, it's a lot easier to change a plan once you have it written down than to make a whole entire new plan. So we've altered our training regimen because we found that it didn't work. We just tweak it, you know, you already have the plan set out and you tinker with it to make it better for you, and to make the, you know, if you're not reaching your goals or you're not reaching your benchmarks, and the training that you're doing has to change. So Tuesdays, beginning of the week ended up being better, so we changed, you know, from that Thursday to Tuesdays. We weren't running long enough sprints. We weren't being fast enough, because, you know, when we had our benchmark runs, we were trying to make a certain pace, a certain time. You know, we're trying to do a sub 4-hour marathon, not just run a marathon. We have also a target pace. So we altered our training based on what our goals are and how we saw ourselves progressing. If we would have started, you know, if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have had time to alter our training program. We wouldn't have been able to see where we are falling short. So that's something that I think is one of the most important parts of staying motivated, is to prepare and to make a plan so you meet your goals. The more planning you do, it's just like you don't even think. You don't have to think about anything. It's just, you just go by the plan. For the bikini body challenge, my plan was to I started with 4 30-day programs. And after I did those, I started, you know, I did like a 40-day yoga challenge. And then after that, I started CrossFit. And there was just every single day I had a training plan, I had a training program. I decided what I was going to eat every day. And I always had that ready. You know, like if your plan is to lose body fat, like figure out what it is what types of foods and exercise help do that the best, optimize body fat loss, and plan your entire week of food. You don't have to think about anything. You don't even have to think about where you're going to go out to dinner. You just have it all ready for you. So I would say this is the most important step. You cannot plan or prepare enough. Don't do it to the point where your plan has to be perfect so you never start, but get the momentum going, write a plan, then take action on that plan the very next day, or decide the day that you're going to take action and do it. What else? I guess some other things that just help is like I'm such a planner that my entire schedule is planned out to almost the hour and the minute of the day. I do have slots for free time, but that's just how my life is right now, because there are a lot of things that I want to do. There are a lot of things that I want to accomplish, and if I get off of that day plan, then my whole, it almost just seems like everything falls apart. So I also want to stress that, like, this past weekend was kind of like a really chill and relaxed weekend. I almost never have a weekend where I don't have work to do or I don't have personal stuff to do that works towards my, you know, personal goals. But this weekend was one of those weekends, and I found myself like sleeping a little bit more. I found myself not being as productive as I like to be, and I got a little bit discouraged and a little bit disappointed, and I hoped that it wasn't going to be a waterfall effect. I hoped that it wasn't going to be something that I kept doing. And then I realized, I was like, wait, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to fall off the board every once in a while. You're not going to be on your game every single time. The most important thing, though, is that you just start again. You have to start working again. So once you get that, you know, that wave of unmotivation, you can't be like me and think that the world is over and that you're gonna fall off the deep end and never start again. You have to know that it always happens, that it's okay, and that the most important thing is to just keep moving. Just start up again as soon as you can, as soon as you're ready, as soon as you're rested, and just keep going. So if you're not a planner, I'd highly recommend becoming a planner. I used to not be a planner. I used to be super spontaneous, and I would run off on the weekend, almost every weekend, and just like go camping on the fly. And that was an awesome time. And my boyfriend and I both work a lot right now, and he's like, we just need to go like we used to go out on the weekends and go camping and go backpacking. And I'm like, yeah, we can do that, but it needs to be planned. Like our lives of not being planned is not, we don't have that right now. And if there's something that you want to do, it needs to be planned, or else it's never going to happen. So it's something that we have to work through if we want to be in nature, if we want to go backpacking and do the things that we did, last year. So I guess a lot of people say, or I've heard a lot of people say, I really want to read more, or I really should exercise more, I really want to get into exercising, or I need to lose weight, or I need to, I don't know, whatever it is, get a boyfriend. But they spend their time not doing the things that they want to do. So my question is that are the things that you're saying that you want to do, the things that you're actually doing? Because sometimes when we look at how we dedicate our time and how we allocate our time, we'll know, look, do you spend most of your time working? Do you spend most of your time sleeping? Do you spend most of your time playing computer games or video games? If so, maybe that's what you really want to do. So if you're having a hard time being motivated to do something that you think you want to do, maybe it's not what you actually want to be doing. So take a look at that if you ever start struggling with motivation. And what else do I have here? Oh, I guess a lot of us do. I have a lot of distractions. So what helps me when I'm going out to do something is knowing that all of my distractions are taken care of. For example, I can't even cook dinner without cleaning first. I know that sounds super bizarre, but if the kitchen counters are dirty, if the stove is dirty, like it disgusts me, so I have to clean it in order to move forward. If there are dishes in the sink, if my room is dirty, if I see like dust somewhere, these would be my distractions. These would be the things that I do over like sitting down to write. So what I find is I either need to get out of the house as soon as possible if that all is happening and I need to work, or just take care of everything immediately. So I almost never leave dishes around that are dirty because I know later it'll be a distraction. I know later that I'm gonna have to do it, so I might as well do it now. I almost always put my laundry away as soon as it's done because I know I'm gonna have to do it sometime, and I've designated that time obviously for doing laundry, so I just do it now. Everything that needs to be done that could be a distraction, I get it done immediately because I don't want it to distract me any further. I don't want it to waste any more time. I don't want it to keep me from doing the things. I don't want it to be an excuse to not do the things that I really want to do, because all of those things have to be done anyways. So I would say make a list of your distractions and know what they are, and avoid them when you have to work, or get them done immediately and out of the way so you can have a clear mind. I guess some things that could help, this is where I started writing my outline, which I completely abandoned, is think about something that you followed through on, and get back into that state and figure out what it was that made you follow through. So that's just like a little tool or trick that can help you discover what your true path of being motivated is. You can get back into that state of mind and figure out what it was that really motivated you and made you move. And then you can kind of dissect your behavior and make a process out of it. You can get back into that state a lot easier, and you can learn how to trigger yourself into being in that state. So yeah, thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of the segment, and we'll see you guys again soon. Oh, if you ever have any comments or suggestions on topics or things that you're having trouble with or struggling with, feel free to leave the comments below, any comments or questions. And yeah, I don't know, we all deal with and have struggled with a lot of similar things. So if there's anything that we can do to help you, then that's what we're here for. And thank you very much, and have a good one.